Hello everyone, Yensid Organist here, and welcome to another episode of OrgelCraft. Hope you guys are having a great day today. The top of the Star Destroyer is torch-free. So I have been slowly grinding away at this project this week, getting the whole upper portion of the hull lit, and that is now finished. I definitely didn't have an area where I was putting lights on the wrong tier and spent an hour doing that only to have to rip it all out and redo it because it was going to drive me crazy if it was wrong. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. Now, there's still torches up here. This is part of the bridge. This is a separate project. Yeah, that's not... that was not part of this equation, but everything else is done. Now, obviously, you know, this is not the final product because we still have some detailing that has to get done up here. And that's going to probably change how some of the lighting goes, but we will deal with that in due course when we get to that thing. One of the things that I have been kind of thinking about as I have been placing all of these lights and walking up and down the Star Destroyer 30, 40 times is I've been looking at these lines that I have here and thinking about how, you know, when I was using MiniHUD to like give me the guidelines, I had a lot of places where we have these really sharp edges, and I've been kind of toying with the idea of possibly smoothing some of this out. So if we look at this, we have, what do we have? So 2, 2, 3, 3, because we could potentially do something like this and fill this in so that it smooths it out. Now, I'm not worried about, you know, it being perfectly smooth, but I don't know. I don't know if it's worth the effort just because of how monumental a task that would be to go and smooth it all out, if it's really worth doing. So I have to think more on that. Feel free to chime in the comment section and tell me what you think about whether, you know, I should pursue a project like that, or, you know, if it's fine the way it is, or if that's one of those, well, you know, let's maybe kind of work on it little bits here and there, and, you know, over the course of, you know, the next however many episodes, not this season, but extending into next season, if that's something, you know, potentially want to clean up, or again, does it really matter? So, anyway, yeah, just some musings that I had. I have also been working on extending the detailing down here. I haven't gotten too far with it, but I've done a little bit. Also, I got rid of the torch spam in this little gap here. I just went ahead and slabbed all of those, and that took care of that. Yeah. So, making progress on getting things done. So, this has been a very, very busy week for me, and yeah, I am left with about 6 hours worth of time to actually record this episode, and nowhere near that much energy. Yeah, so we're gonna see where this goes. I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 goals for this episode, and so we're gonna start some things. One of them I guarantee will not be finished. A second one will probably not be finished. I think the other 2 should be achievable. And so we're going to start... Well, I will say, one of the goals is finishing the detailing on the trenches. And that's one of the... maybe I'll get to it, maybe not. But the first thing that I want to do is I want to put a couple more farms in here. I guess 5, because we're gonna harvest that. I went through and planted all of it, so we want to do an official harvest. I fixed the redstone. I figured out what was wrong with it. Maybe I had figured out what was wrong with it at the end of the last episode. I don't know. I figured out what was wrong with it. I fixed it. It should work. I haven't tested it, but we will do that. So the couple farms that I want to do, back last season, we had a massive dripstone farm in Arendelle, which I used, and I have plenty of dripstone from that to be able to continue building with. But I want to have a permanent dripstone farm, and so what I want to do is I want to build 2 dripstone-based farms. So one of them is actually going to be a clay farm, so a place where we can convert dirt into mud and then spread it out with blocks over dripstone so that we can create clay. And then the other thing I want is an actual dripstone farm. So I think that this area will be good for both of those. The dripstone farm is going to be fairly long, but is only 12 blocks wide. It's a flying machine, so I have to figure out how much we can pull from that. The other one is tall, so I think we're going to stick that over here. I'm probably going to set up a little bit of a radius around the skulk farm, because we are going to build a chamber similar to our reactor core here for that. So I just want to make sure I leave myself enough room to do that. But yeah, so we're going to work on that. So I'm going to get a couple of things together and get a little bit of a start, and then I want to actually build some of it together, because the mud converter is not my design, but the rest of the farm is. I mean, and it's fairly standard and straightforward, but I thought it might be interesting to kind of work through a little bit of that together. So Yensid does redstone! Yay! What could possibly go wrong? Nothing, because I've done it in creative, and it works. So, yeah. So let me get some materials together, let me get a start on that, and I'll bring you guys back in just a little bit. Welcome back, everyone. So a little bit of prep work has been done here. So this is our mud converter right here. This was designed by Jax and Wild, and I will put a link to it in the description. I don't have it completely set up because I don't have the water bottles and glass bottles that we need yet, so we'll deal with that later. But yeah, let's walk through the clay part of the farm. So what I have done is I have set up here a 12 by 12 platform, and that is our piston push limit, so that we can make the most of the area that we have. And then, of course, down here below, I have dripstone off of all of these, which will dry the mud out and convert it to clay. And we don't need anything beneath that. I just have a floor here for the room itself. So what happens, and you'll kind of see, I can do this right here. But as you put blocks in there, they will get pushed forward, converted into mud, and then when they reach down there, that piston will begin pushing them over into the first part of the farm. And this is just a very simple setup here. What happens is the block gets pushed in front of the torch, in front of the piston. The block is then powered by this redstone, which transfers power to this redstone dust into the repeater, into the block, which then powers the piston to push it over, and then it's ready to go again. So, to get this started, and we're actually going to use my schematics here to start this. I bet I can't place that. Okay, so we're going to go right here, and we are going to put a layer of blocks right here. And this is going to be the setup for all of our piston pushers. So we're going to do top slabs along there and then full blocks. This one doesn't really matter. These can be full blocks. But we have slabs there. And then along here, we are going to place regular pistons face up. And this is what is going to feed all the blocks through our farm. And then we've got more blocks coming out here. And then we have redstone dust into a repeater with 3 ticks of delay. Redstone dust all the way along the back here. And then repeaters going into each of these pistons. And then if we come up another layer, we're going to put an observer facing into this block here. We'll have redstone dust coming out this way. And then, let's see, probably not going to be able to... Are these full blocks? Yes, so these are full blocks, which you can place right on top of the redstone dust. Like that. And then a line of sticky pistons coming out this way. 2 top half slabs with a redstone dust, a repeater set to 1 tick, and then redstone dust all... Oops, I'm out of redstone dust. All along these blocks. And I believe that is it for this layer. Yes. So what happens is then once the farm is full, once we have all 12 blocks to here, this observer detects that, and then we split the redstone signal. So the first thing it does is it comes up to this top, and these sticky pistons all extend, pull the blocks over. Then, with our delay, goes into this bottom row of pistons, which will push it up and cycle it around to the next layer. So now, if we come over here, this is just going to be the portion that... starts the whole farm. So we have a couple of building blocks right there coming out. And then on the next level, we've got an observer. Nope, that's not an observer. We need an observer facing that way. And then blocks coming out like this. A line of blocks all the way along the back. And then another set of 12 regular pistons right here. And then up on the next level, we're going to do redstone dust on top of the observer. On top of these blocks, we have a repeater going down this line, and then a repeater here set to 3 ticks of delay. And then redstone dust all along here. And so then what that does is the blocks will be pushed all along from over there. They will hit this repeater, which will activate this line of pistons. This repeater here locks this one so that you don't get a double pulse. Because a lot of times what happens when you're using an observer in front of pistons is it just creates a really obnoxious clock. And this way, when we do that, we just get one fire of the pistons and it moves the blocks over so that they're ready to go. And then basically from here, we just take this whole setup and mirror it from level to level. So what happens is we have... it's kind of hard to see from the schematic, but we'll have another layer of blocks and dripstone, and it is, I think there's a 2-block air gap here, so 1 block for the mud, an air gap, which is not completely necessary. I just did it to give myself a little bit of room. Yeah, and so then these blocks will get pushed up, and then we will repeat what we have over here. This will be over here to push the blocks out, and then it will start it all over again, and then we'll have the sticky piston, regular piston combo on that side with this setup here. So that is how all of that works. Honestly, it's a really simple setup, but I thought it would be kind of fun to walk through that. So I'm going to build this farm up. So we have all the layers in here. Oh, yeah, I decided to move it over here. It wasn't quite as tall as I thought it was, so I figured rather than get close to our sculk farm, I would give myself some room to work with. So anyway, I'm going to build the rest of this farm up, and then I'll bring you guys back, and we will try it out together. And our farm is complete. So, in all, this farm will handle or process 18 stacks of mud blocks in one go. Now, of course, the downside to this is you do have to go harvest all of it manually. I was thinking about trying to find a way that you could funnel it all out, and I couldn't come up with a good way to do that. I'm sure there probably is, and maybe that's something that we can figure out in the future. But for now, it's a semi-automatic farm. I'm now stuck in here. So, actually, I think I'm going to take that off for right now. So, how this works is, place a dirt block here to start things off, and then all you have to do is place a dirt block here. That gets converted, and this one gets pushed into place. So we just stand here and hold this. And if we look over there, we'll see our mud blocks are all going along. And I just heard a big piston push, and that has gone all the way. And as you can see, one of them has already converted to clay. This is a fairly fast mechanic, and so I suspect that by the time we actually fully fill the farm, most, if not all, of the mud will have been converted into clay. But yeah, so I'm not going to do a full test of this, even though I did grab a lot of dirt. But I would like to see if we can get the first layer done. So let me jump ahead. And there we go. If you look down to the end, you can see we have a row of blocks that has been pushed up. And then that will go up and circle around and up and around and up and around, all the way to the top, at which point I assume the farm will just stop working, or this will break down here because nothing else can go. Don't know. But yeah, let me place a few more blocks and we'll see it up on that next level there. And if we hop into FreeCam, you'll see we've got a couple layers that are up here, so this farm is working. And then to harvest, now, why do I have water bottles in my inventory again? This happened... I'm lost, I don't know where I am. As I was going through, I kept getting water bottles in my inventory. I'm guessing I probably have too many glass bottles in the system, and they're coming through faster than they go out. I don't know. Anyway, yes, I appear to have water bottles. Anyway, let's go and we'll see what the little harvesting area is set up for. So right here I have a water column that will bring us all the way to the top. And then each of the floors, and then I just have a little drop shaft here with some powdered snow, and you basically just go back and forth, working your way down till you get to the level that you need to be at, and then you can come in, harvest everything that's here, and then go about your day. So that is that. And that is our clay farm all done. So that project done, time to move on. Obviously, we still need a room for this, but I will deal with that at a later date. Yeah, so the next thing I want to do is I want to get a dripstone farm going, fully automatic, and I think we're just going to tuck that right in over here. I don't think I'm going to make it ridiculously huge, because they're fairly efficient. So yeah, so I'm going to get that built, and I'll bring you guys back when it's done. Well, the dripstone farm is built, but it is not finished. So fairly straightforward farm. We have the dripstone at the top with the water above, and then dropping down onto the floor so that we get both stalactites and stalagmites, and then a pair of flying machines that will come through. the one on the top gets launched first, and then the one on the bottom gets launched after. And have an observer here so that when this grows down, hits that, and triggers it, you'll see the flying machine gets launched up there, and the one down on the bottom goes. So I say built but not completed because, well, first of all, didn't build the returns in the same place, so the bottom one gets there before or gets back before the top one does, and we need the bottom one to be behind the top one so that it can push everything that drops, so that it can get collected in the system. The other problem that I have is that I don't really have enough delay on the bottom, but the way the system is set up, I can't get enough delay, so I need to do a slightly different setup here, and I think I just need a comparator clock to make this bottom segment work. Because what happens is if I have too much delay, it doesn't turn off, and so then the bottom one doesn't launch. So I need to fix that. I also need to set up a collection area on both ends, and I think I'm just going to have a water stream bring everything down here. And I haven't decided where exactly I'm going to have this pipe to. Obviously, this is a fully automatic farm, so I don't really need to do anything other than have access to it in case something were to happen. And, say I, say the farm is in the middle of running and I happen to go back to the overworld, might break the flying machine, so I would need access to be able to fix those. So we are going to leave this as it's done. I don't have time to fiddle with it because I want to do a little bit more. We'll see how much time I actually have for that. But there we go. Dripstone farm. All of our dripstone stuff for the episode is complete. We're going to need rooms for both of these. I sense many live stream projects. So I want to turn my attention now to a little detailing project here at the back of the ship. And it has to do with the edges that we have coming out here. And what I want to do, and this is going to be an ongoing project, but what I want to do is I want to continue what we did here with this little bit of deep slate that you see peeking through. And I want to carry that all the way down and then, of course, all the way up, because I like how that looks, and I think that will be a good way to detail this going forward. So what we need to do is we're going to need some stone slabs, and that's going to come all the way down along here. And I think what we'll oh, that's going to be... Can I get rid of that? What happens when we do that? Does that work? Yeah, I think that'll be fine. So what we'll do is we're going to take this down along here, and we'll just build up the edge, and then we'll fill in behind. Let's see. I shouldn't need that. So we can relocate the torch. And yeah, so, and then I want to basically, fill this whole thing in so that you have, a thicker portion of the hull plate. And then what we'll do is I will just, let's see here, if we can come up here, grab some stone, and so then what we'll do is basically just mirror what is below. Whoops. And bring that back in like that. And so we'll just come from here and bring it along to there and bring it in until it meets up. And then, of course, we work all of that along as it goes. And yeah, might have to get a little bit creative with how this looks. Trying to basically just mirror what's below, but that's not always going to work out perfectly. So I'll have to play around with that a little bit and see what we want to do. And then that gets interesting because no F3. If I break that, is there anything? Oh, there is nothing below that. Okay, or there is a block below it, so perfect. Okay, so let me do a little bit of work with this, and we'll just see how far we can get. Flying through the void, we're flying through the void. Oh, I got very high. So, progress has been made on the back, so I worked the little ridge all the way down and then began filling in from there, doing the lighting that we've done on the top of the ship. And I also played around with a little bit of different blocks. So I thought I would try incorporating some andesite in on alternating tiers. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. From a distance, you can't really see it. And so I was looking at the engines here, and I was like, oh, I used wool for that. So I'm honestly wondering if maybe something with a little bit of a, that's a little bit more textured, like light gray wool, might look good in here. I don't know. Thoughts? But yeah. As a whole, though, I think this is looking really good. I decided to not try to mirror what was below and just take it straight back from the ridge, and I think that looks just fine. But we've got some good depth to this now, and this is coming along. I have mostly run out of resources. This is all the stone that I have left, so I'm going to have to go mining before we do any more of that. Yeah, but I'm also up against the clock for getting this episode finished, unfortunately. So I think we're going to have to leave it off there. If you have any ideas as to how I'm going to do the top part of this, because I'm just going to do the same thing that I did down here, but yeah. I feel like that's too high to use regular scaffolding, so I don't know if maybe I need to do like dirt scaffolding. I don't know what the easiest way to do this is going to be. So if you have any suggestions, yeah, I would definitely appreciate hearing that, because yeah, this is easy. I'm just walking along. That's not going to be quite so easy. Although saying that, I think maybe if I did like the outer edge, I might actually be able to build it from the inside. So, I don't know. We will have to see about that. Yeah, unfortunately did not get a chance to come back and work on the edges, but that is something that I will continue to do between episodes. And yeah, now I've gotten to the point where I'm probably going to be starting a lot of projects and going, okay, this is what we're going to be doing, this is what it's going to look like, and yeah, I'll be working on that, you know, off camera or on live streams or things like that. So, yeah. One more thing that we have to do, because I promised we would take a, we would run the, crop farm. Our Star Destroyer is getting pretty filled up here. I mean, obviously, I still have tons and tons of space, but yeah, for going, oh, I'm not sure, you know, I feel like this is going to be really empty. No, I feel like we're doing good. So, I have definitely spent enough time in here that all of these crops should be grown, although that one's not. But yeah, let's see, that looks pretty good. Whoops, went through the ceiling. This one I didn't have, so this is beetroot. Carrots, and then potatoes I also didn't have a ton of. So here goes nothing. I don't have any kind of collection system, so I'm gonna have to run through and grab everything when I'm done, but fingers crossed, hopefully this works. I got potatoes flowing. Oh, very, very laggy. Oh, so much lag because so many entities. Look, it's raining carrots. It's raining wheat. And it looks like every single one of these has, in fact, flushed through. So, yay, it works. So, yeah, I'd say this is pretty effective farming here. Yeah, now I get to go replant all of that. At least I have the stuff to plant. A double chest of carrots, more than a double chest of carrots, from one harvest. Yeah, we might need to get some farmer villagers in here. But guys, that is going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed, please be sure to give it a like and share it with your friends. If you haven't already, I would encourage you to subscribe, and make sure you click that little notification to stay up to date on all my latest posts. Be sure to follow me on social media. Thanks for watching. See you real soon.